Hey there, welcome to a new album review, or rather EP review, because that's exactly what I've been doing the past few days. I've been really into EPs for some reason. I guess again, as I've mentioned multiple times, they're digestible, so yeah. And today we actually have Low with Murderer, which I didn't even know it was a band existed, I guess, but well, that's what this little endeavor is for me to keep finding bands and stuff like that. And this band is basically like an indie band, and when I say indie, it's more like, you know, it's sort of like indie rock, but it's very like ethereal, very dreamy, very, like essentially the entire EP. The EP is composed of three songs, like, 15-ish, 16 minutes, something along those lines. And essentially, the three songs are basically just like very slow guitar, sort of setting the pace, with sort of like ambient sound, and then just singing, very like slow, very sort of. Just trying to establish more of an atmosphere than like trying to create certain energy or whatever, right? It's very sad, I guess, right? It gives vibes of the world is ending, basically, at least as far as the ambient goes, because then the ambient gets sort of constructed or contrasted with the singing, and the singing is very like hopeful in a way, right? So it gives sort of this weird contrast where it's like you definitely do have a sad sort of songs, but at the same time they managed to somehow be sort of these nostalgic things were good and they're gonna get better type thing, right? It's very like on that vein. It's very weird, I don't know, like because essentially the ambient alone could pass as a more like sad, even depressing like thing, right? That's sort of like the emotion that it can pass you. But then with the singing, because the singing alone can also be just kind of sad, but when you put them together, it's sort of like it becomes more awful, right? And the singing is like very soft, very dreamy in a way, and yeah, I mean, it's just like 16 minutes of that basically. And because there are three songs, but there are, to me at least, there isn't like an immense distinction between them, right? They're definitely different, but I think like overall it's better if you just take this as like an actual full project rather than song by song, if you know what I mean. Because essentially what happens is, especially in the third song towards the end, there's a certain build up that happens. So you, especially the guitar starts getting louder, right? And yeah, it starts getting noisier a little bit because this definitely doesn't have, I guess, quote unquote, the best quality, but because it's as far as I know, a rip from a vinyl. So yeah, that's because again, I listen to stuff on YouTube. I don't even have fucking a thing to play vinyls or whatever, right? So it's kind of like the only thing I could find about this, but yeah, aside like the, I guess, lower quality, uh, like the guitar starts getting louder, and especially with the singing, the contrast of stuff feeling like more awful starts being even more emphasized, I guess. Like you do start feeling like stuff is just better, or that stuff is gonna be okay, right? It's sort of like, sad songs to remain hopeful to. Basically that's like what would be, I guess. Like in a way, it reminded me a lot of Mogwai, if you've ever heard that band. That band is like sort of a indie rock band that also, is very like slow, very, creating an atmosphere, but it's very sad. A lot of their stuff is very, especially what was the song? Like, there's a song that got really popular on YouTube. I don't remember the name, but I know that it was like very, very popular, and it's sad. But essentially, like, it's sort of the same genre, basically. It's kind of in the same vein. The difference is with Mogwai, I find that stuff oftentimes is more like there's a certain like deep cut sadness type thing. Even when you contrast the soft singing with like the more ambient sounds, right? There's like the slow drums and slow guitar, whereas here, yeah, like the slow guitar and everything creates more of a sad sound, but the singing, which should help create that sad sound, in a way, it's like it creates this sound where sort of it's for when you're sad, but it's like, again, it sounds very hopeful for some reason. It sounds like you're in the middle of a night, but there's a slow sunrise, if you know what I mean. Like that's how it feels, emotionally speaking. And again, like the fact that if you listen to the entire thing, right, and you sort of like, you know, like quote unquote ignore the songs and you pretend that this is an entire song, everything just slowly builds up to that end moment where the guitars get louder, right, and it's sort of like you reached your destination, and it's just very beautiful, honestly. It's very nice, definitely. And it's, you know, like it was definitely an experience, I can say. And again, like this is such a, like, again, I'm so like I'm stuck on sort of thinking about like it shouldn't sound as hopeful as it does, but it does for some reason, like because the dynamic between both the singing and the instruments should be to keep the song even more like depressing, but it actually sounds way more hopeful, right? So yeah, it's just a nice thing. As in terms of like my, I guess, vibe meter, I would say right now I'm feeling an 8, I guess, an 8 out of 10. Although it might change in the future. I think this one is gonna be one of those that changes in the future, definitely. But yeah, for now I think an 8 out of 10 is nice. And well, I'll see you tomorrow with a new album review.